Well, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in from truly across the continent today for another exciting Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants broadcast. A lot of you are familiar with us, but a lot of you are new too. And so if you are new, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. And it's such a thrill to get to feature the coolest scientists and explorers on planet Earth. Everything we do goes to our YouTube channel. So if you want to check out all our other 4,000 programs or check out this one in 3 weeks or 3 years, you can head there and do just that. Now, I'm really excited today too, just as a big welcome. We've got a lot of kids from everywhere, but I want to say a special shout out to New Jersey, especially to Flemington. You guys are wildly represented today. So a big welcome to Barley Sheaf in particular. So many kids from there. Now we're diving back in with our friends at Digital Moment. We did a really cool program with them last year, a joint sort of epic broadcast, and we had too much fun. So we wanted to bring them back for something different today, building a sustainable future with the 7 R's of the circular economy. Now, as a personal aside, when I was in your grades, there were only 3 R's. We've gained 4 more R's since then, which is crazy. So we're going to learn a little bit about that, what we can do as classrooms, as people, as families to help improve the planet and do a really interactive, fun presentation today. So if that all sounds good, you guys can give me a thumbs up. Awesome. I am going to take you over to our amazing friends at Digital Moment. Herman, Riaz, welcome in, you two. And thank you so much for joining today. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you so much for having us. This is going to be great. So we are Digital Moment. This is my colleague Riaz. And what we're doing today, as Jesse said, we're going to talk about sustainability. That's such a big word, and we're going to explore many different things. But the first thing I want to do is that I want to start showing you some images, and I'm going to be asking you some questions. We're going to figure out what is it that we're going to do and how are we starting. Let me present my screen. That way you can see something besides me and Riaz. And then you have something there on the screen for us to think about. We have a lot of information. The first part that we see is that we have a challenge. So it's not only a session, we have a challenge for you today. Who are we? What are these people doing here? Why are they talking about a challenge? So we're Digital Moment, and we're a Canadian company, a non-profit that helps teachers and kids all over the place to learn about digital skills. How can we make our lives better and our future better by learning about technology? What is this challenge about? The challenge is that many years ago, back in way 2000, we had a challenge that was called the Millennium Development Goals. And these things were created by countries all over the world in order to make the world a better place, to have less poverty, to have a better environment, to have drinking water, all these great things. And those went really well. We didn't achieve everything that we tried as humanity, but they went so well that we say, let's do it again, but bigger and better. And we went to the second one and made something that is called the Sustainable Development Goals. This is the first question for anybody in the chat today. What are the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs? What do you know about it? Tell me 1 or 2 things about them. And what do you see on this screen that relates to the SDGs?
Interesting. All right. I will note as we go through this, I'm going to be calling upon classes. So keep your mics unmuted. Get ready to share in the chat. If you're really quick in writing and you want to put it in the private chat, that's totally cool as well. But we'll see what we know about the Sustainable Development Goals. How about I head to Mr. Steltman's class? They're joining us in Burlington today. Do you guys know anything about the SDGs? What do you know? Or nothing? Nothing. Ooh, carte blanche. We have no idea. That's exciting. Okay. Not sure, but eager to learn to Miss Bridget's class. We've got a bunch of people saying they're not particularly familiar. This is interesting. This is a topic that I've heard about, and we have some classes that are very keen and they know a lot, and some classes that are learning it for the very first time, which, as they've said, is an opportunity to learn a little more. So do tell us a little more, Iman.
Yes, I'll be happy to. So the SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals, are goals that humanity agreed on in order to make our lives and the lives of all the living beings in our planet better for the future. To have clean water, to reduce poverty, to increase education, to help the ecosystem, to learners engage better with others, to have more power to buy more things. They're fantastic. And this image that you have here represents all the sustainable development goals. Today, we're going to work on two of them, and they are this green and this brownish color. So let's see what these things are. The first thing is that what we're doing today is mostly sustainable consumption and production. These are three big words. So if we're thinking that the SDGs are helping the world be better in the future, let's try to break down sustainable consumption and production. Let's think about sustainable. Sustainable is something that can hold on for a long time. It's something that we can keep doing for a long time. For example, if I want to run really, really, really fast, I can only sustain that. I can only do it for a little bit of time. Maybe if I take my time and I train and I just jog slowly, I can do it for longer. So sustainable, something we want to do for longer. Consumption, that one is easy. We consume, we use things. We consume TV or YouTube videos, we consume food, we consume the clothes that we have, all these things that we use, that's consumption. So sustainable consumption. How can we use things for longer? Interesting. And production, the people, the companies, the entities that make the things that we consume. So, what we're trying to do here is to figure out how can we keep on producing things for all of us to enjoy. Cookies, we want to make more cookies, but we want to keep making them for a long time. How can we do this? That's what we're going to figure out today. And we're going to figure it out by learning four different things. The whole session today is four things. So it's going to be easy. I want you to remember these things with me. And I don't see you, but I want you to follow me. We're going to learn about a line. We're going to learn about a circle. We're going to learn one letter and we're going to learn about a pledge. Those are the things we're doing: a line, a circle, one letter, and a pledge. Let's see how do we get there. Let's go to the next one. Is that I said we're taking a look at two sustainable development goals. The one that we have here, sustainable consumption and production, and we have also climate action. We want this wonderful world to stay wonderful for generations to come. Let's take a look at the first thing, the line. The line is the linear economy. This is the way that we have produced and used things for a long, long time. Let me show you what we have on the screen and let me show you these things with an example. I have here a pen, a very regular pen. My pen is a little bit broken, but it's my pen. I like it a lot. Let's think what it takes or what it took to get this pen to me. First, we go to extract. Somebody had to go and get the materials required to produce this pen. This is the second question of the day. For this pen, what do you think needed to be extracted from the planet to create this pen? You can unmute, you can put it in the chat. Give me.
Ooh, let's see. You know what? We're going to head to Mrs. Lango's class. If you guys want to unmute your mic, what do we need to make a pen? If you've got a pen in your hand, if you've got a pen in your classroom, you can shout it out. What do we think? Ink and plastic. Oh, that's honestly, I was like thinking to myself, like, what would we need? And those are the two that came to mind. Yeah, ink, pen, plastic. Everyone's saying the same things. I don't know what else is in a pen, so we'll stick with that.
Great, we can stick with those, Jesse. That is perfect. Maybe we have also metal for the spring, but then those things need to be extracted. They need to be produced. They just don't show up in a box in nature. We need to get them. We need to mine them. We need to grow them. We need to extract them. So that is the first part. To make this pen, we need to extract those things from the planet. If we think about destruction, if you take a look, there looks like there are some machines there. So we need to build those machines, and to build those machines, We need to extract metal, we need to extract rubber, all these things that is going to help create this. So we're taking a lot of things from the earth. We're in the first part of the line that we were talking about in our linear economy. Then we take all those things to a factory that they know how to take plastic from one place, metal from one place, ink from another place, and they have ways to put them together into a pen. So that involves taking things from one place to the other. So we need roads, we need rails, we need ports, we need airports, more things that we need to extract to be able to do things. Great, because you know what? I really like being able to get a pen so easily for me to do things here in my office. Now, after it's extracted, then it's produced, we transform it, then it gets to us. In this case, that can be me, a bearded man. Maybe that can be a pen or a tablet or anything. We use it. And I use it, I take my notes, I prepare for this, I share notes with my family. But at some point, I'm going to run out of ink. And what happens in the linear economy, once I run out of ink, I just throw it. Even maybe when it breaks, I said, I don't like it anymore, and we throw it. So that is our line, is the way that we're extracting, producing, and consuming for a long time. The key parts of the line is that it starts with extraction from the planet and it ends in the landfill. We take things and we throw them. That we know is a problem because we run out of things to take out of the planet and we run out of spaces to throw things. What can we do? Then that is the answer. The answer is the circle. We go into the circular economy. Let's take a look because if we keep on the linear economy, what's going to happen? We're going to be inundated by garbage and we're going to run out of resources. Great. Not great at all. How can we fix it? Then we have this pleasing different image. Now we have an uplifting color and we have what is a circular economy. In this circular economy, what we want to do is that when we extract things, we keep them in the loop. We're going to see how. We don't want them to go to the waste. We don't want to fill up the landfill. We want to keep using those things. And there are ways that companies, governments, and most importantly, things that you and I can do. Let's take a look at what these four different colors mean. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. I'm also looking at the chat just in case. We're going to get started. The first thing, let's go to the pen. I like the pen. So we're with the pen. Somebody has to design and produce the pen. Even Jesse's pen. Same idea. Somebody has to design and produce it. The people that design and produce it, they can make conscious decisions to make a pen that can be taken apart and repaired. A pen that can be refilled. Maybe we can change the line that has all the ink, or maybe we can refill it. Things that we can do. So on the design part, before even it gets made, we can make conscious decisions as a society. That one, you and I don't have that much saying on it, except that we can buy things that can live for longer. That's the first part. The second, distribution and consumption. How do we get these things from one place to another? So trying to find ways to move things that are more economical, that are more practical and better for the environment. Those are big companies taking care of that. But consumption, you, and I can do different. And you too, Jesse, 100%. All of us can consume in a better way. And we're going to see by using the R's, as Jesse said, we had three, now we have seven. We're going to explore ways that all of us can make our lives better. Then we have two R's here, repair and reuse. What does that mean? We'll take a look at those in a second. Then, after repair and reuse, we have recycling and recovery. Stays in the loop. We extract, goes in the loop, serves its purpose, and we don't throw it in the landfill. We find ways to bring it up in the loop. But how? How can we do this, you might ask? Let's take a look at the next image. So we have 7 R's. I have a huge R with 7 R's. I want any of you to tell me which one of these R's do you know. You can say the brain means this, or this means that, or just write the ones you know.
I'm going to head to Mrs. Rogowski's class. What do we think? Do you know any of the R's? Do you want to chime in with any of them?
We have
Oh my God! Any of yours?
Recycle.
Cycle.
Recycle, reduce, and reuse. Yes.
Nice. Okay, you guys got the 3 that I remember from when I was a kid. How about
Very good.
we've got recycling in Miss Brigitte's class. Awesome. Ms. Aligier's class. If you guys want to check in, you can unmute your mic. Any ones you know? Reduce, reuse, recycle. Any others?
Any other R's?
Reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Yeah.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
We're stuck with the 3. This is
Renew.
Renew. Hey, we got 4. Okay, so but it's good. I'm actually happy to hear this because at a glance, some of these are not as well known as others. So come on, if you want to walk us through some of the others, we'd love to hear from
I'll
you.
be happy to. And yes, we know about reduce, reuse, and recycle. They're very important, they're great, and they help with many of these concepts. But then let's take a look at some of the other ones that are a little bit different. We have these. This looks like a happy brain because it's a little brain and it has some connections. And what is inviting is the designers, the producers, and also us to rethink the way that we extract materials, the way that we build different things, and the way we consume. We're going to see how to rethink about consumption. Great. So that's the first one is rethink. What will be an interesting example for rethink is that in the past, maybe about 5 years ago, there was a phone company that said, you know what, we're going to make a phone that is different. A phone that you can change the camera, you can change the display, you can change the battery. That way, you can upgrade your phone instead of getting rid of it. So that will be one of them. So we have reduce, reuse, recycle, rethink. We have recycle here. We're familiar with that. Reduce, we can say that reduce can be this. And reduce is very special because it has different ways of thinking about it. One of them is let's reduce the amount of things that we put out that we don't need, but also let's reduce the waste that we produce. And these things, they're all linked, they're interconnected. So we're going to figure out how are they connected. Let's take a look at my favorite. Is the one that we, all of us, have the most power to influence change, and is refuse. What do you mean by refuse? We say no. Exactly. We just say no. I don't want it. I don't need it. One example, I have my pen. Why am I going to get another 7 pens? I use this one for as long as I need it and for as long as it serves its purpose. I try to extend the life of this pen. A very easy example is maybe you have 10 shirts and you want an 11th one. Before getting it, really think, do I really want this shirt? Are the other ones okay? Do I like them? Why do I want an extra one? So refusing is a key part that it helps the environment, it helps you be happy with what you have, and it reduces some financial pressure in other places. So we saw those. We know about this one, this beautiful one here that has this bottle with some plants, is that we can repurpose. We can take something and transform it and make it something else. In a big scale, here where I am in Toronto, Canada, there's a industrial complex. There used to be a factory and they stopped functioning. They went out of business and we had all that place doing nothing there. Then it was repurposed. Right now, the holiday events are there. They have music, they have art, food, shops. So they repurposed that space so they didn't tear it down and throw it to make something new. They change it. Great. The reduce, reduce, we have this one here. Recycle, we know. Now, all of you, what do you think this is? And I know it might be a little bit small. It's an apple that somebody bit off, and we have some lines. Maybe Jesse knows or somebody else.
Oh, I'm actually having trouble, and I saw the first 7 at the beginning, so this is a tricky one. What do we think? Let's see, Miss Brigitte's class. If you guys want to unmute your mic, you can chime in. What do we got in the chat? Reuse again, okay. Might not be reuse. We might have covered that one already, but I like what you're thinking. That's sort of it kind of looks like that. It's not re-chew. I know that, even though it kind of feels like that with the apple. What our YouTube comments? What do we think? Using food products for compost. That's true, but it's not an R option. What do we think, Miss Brigitte's class? What do you think?
Replant.
It's like replanting.
Replant? Interesting. I like that. That's nice. I don't know. Let's find
You know
out.
what? That is not the R that I had, but I really like. We can have more R's. We can be extra pirates. It's just with a long R. Repurpose. I like that. Reuse. I like. All these things. There are some things that we can let them rot. So that's the other R. And that's why the replant is so important, is that many of the things that we have and we use, they decompose naturally in a short span of time, and then the earth can process them again. Oh, you can't hear me? Can we check? Jesse, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, it's because we had in the chat, we can hear. Okay, great.
Okay.
So just to let you know, sounds good with us? Okay, perfect.
Cool.
So we have these 7 R's. This is a lot of information. We went from our line, from our circle, to one letter, R. And now we know that these 7 can be many more, because replant, I didn't have there, but I'm using that for sure. Great. Now, let me see what else we have. The last thing that I have in these images is that we can take each one of those R's and assign them to our circular economy. That's an activity that maybe you can think of. But more than that, I want to do something else with you. You might be saying, this is interesting, but maybe I want to learn more. Maybe I want to remember this information. Maybe I want to quiz my family. And what about the pledge? Where do I pledge? So we have our challenge. This is the website that holds all the information that we presented today. And you can visit this site whenever you want, with your parents, with your teachers, with your friends. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So there, I think it looks a little bit better. I took the information from here, and you can learn more about us. But what I want to do is to scroll down. We've seen this. We talk about this part in the linear economy. Waste is growing, is growing. We say, no, we want the circular economy. We present the circular economy. But what we're going to do, and I need your collaboration, we're going to test the knowledge of the things that we saw. We're going to explore alternatives. So we have some sort of a quiz. Then we're here. Let's put the 7 R's into practice. In order to do that, I'm going to click on start, and we're going to start with this first one.
Ooh.
Anybody can answer in the chat, or you can unmute. We have 2 options. Yes, Jesse?
I'm going to bring in classes for this because we want you guys with this quiz and what your thoughts are too. So I will note, I've already shared this link in the StreamYard chat. I'm going to share it with all the teachers after, so you can play this game at home when you're done as well. But for the purposes of right now, you regularly upgrade your electronic gadgets to the latest model, even when your current devices are still functional. What do you do? Do you refuse or rethink? Let's go to Mr. Stelman's class. What do you think?
Refuse!
It's interesting. So that class is like really all on one training.
Wow, that was fantastic. Let's see what happens if we go to refuse. Oh, that looks like too many old phones. And then it says, question the necessity of upgrading your gadget. But you know that. I have that chorus of refuse that is great. And we have some data, some information in the site. There's lots of data, but one of them, 2019, the world produced over 50 million of metric tons of e-waste. This is not waste. This is just electronic waste. And we're going to 74 million metric tons by 2030. So by refusing, we're helping. We all can help, and then we get to enjoy the things we have. Learn to love the things you have. Let's see what we have next. Jesse, who do you want to bring for this one?
Ooh, there's so many. This is the problem, is that there's so many kids. You guys are all so keen, and I love it. Let's see. Ms. Rogowski, at an event, you're offered a complimentary tote bag filled with single-use promotional items. And kids, when you become an adult like us, any event you go to, you get a tote bag. I've got like 5 too many tote bags. So what do you think? Do you refuse or reuse?
Reuse.
Reuse? Oh, we got a bit of both. A lot of them want to reuse, so maybe use one of their own bags, bring it to the event. Let's try it.
So something important that I'm going to give you a clue is that both refuse and reuse are valid. You might not always use the same thing. Let's go for reuse to choose something different. And we get some information and said, you know what? You can politely decline things, but the reuse part, if you take that tote bag, make sure you use it for some other things, maybe to keep something at home, maybe when you go grocery shopping, you use the tote bag. So those two parts are important, they're true, and they help us make the planet better. I'm not going over the statistics, so you can go over them later on with your friends and family and your teachers. Let's take a look at this one. Let me read it, and then you can tell me in the chat, or Jesse is going to unmute someone. You and your friends love shopping for new clothes, but your closet is already full of items you rarely wear. What do we do?
You know what I
It
want
can
to
be
do?
something different. Yes, Jesse.
Miss DeLeo's class is on YouTube, and they're at Barley Sheep as well, and they've been so great in the chat. So if you guys want to chime in the chat, we'd love to hear from you, whether you reduce or reuse the clothes you wear. While we're waiting for you to do that, I just want to note personally, so I say no to all tote bags now. I get the chance to go to conferences a lot. I work with a lot of cool organizations, and they always want to send me a tote with new pens and new water bottles. And it's so, so nice. I understand where it comes from, but we want to make sure that we can refuse those things if we don't want to use them. If we already have those things, that does go a long way to helping the planet. Now, Miss DeLeo's class, they say reuse. So they want to reuse clothing. Thanks for playing along on YouTube, guys. And let's check it out.
Great. Reuse is a wonderful answer. And I'm going to give you a secret again. Reduce and reuse work perfectly here, because reduce and reuse can mean the same thing. Maybe I'm done. Like, yes, I have a lot, but I've been wearing them for so long. I'm tired. They're in good condition. Why don't I give them to somebody else? Why don't I take them to a thrift store? Why don't I make something else with them? So there's always alternatives. And I love that we're getting to see all different point of views. And then we know that fashion emits a lot of global carbon, but we can lower those things by refusing, by reusing, by repurposing. All these R's, they work interconnected. Let's see what is the next one. Oh, I'm guilty of this one. Jesse, take it away. There you go.
Got my notebook here, which I do a lot with. So let's see. Mrs. Lango's class will come to you guys. What do we think? Do you want to reuse or rot those notebooks? Reuse, but with like so loud, the principal is going to be like, "What are you doing in your class?" That's awesome. Reuse galore. I love it.
Great. And I have an extra tip, because the extra tip is that because it's paper, you can reuse all those pages. Maybe you can cut them off and make a new notebook, or you can use them there. And then later on, you can compose them. So you can reuse and then rot them. Really good. Then reuse, we see what happens. Let's go to the next one. We have maybe 2 or 3 more. This one I do a lot.
Yes. All right. We've got repurpose and recycle as our options. Miss a 2A04, if you want to unmute your mic, I will come to you for the next one. I know you're a little away from the, oh, you're right there. 2A04. Hey, guys. What do we think? Oh, hello.
Oh my God.
All right, do we repurpose or do we recycle? What do we Oh, Winnipeg, thank you guys. Okay, recycle it is.
That's great. And the beauty is that we can recycle because you can see this is made of glass and metal. Those are easily recyclable things. But I have a secret. What I do at home is more of repurpose. Let's see. It can be either of them, both, as Miss Bridget says, both. Because you know what we do? I don't know why, but a few years ago we started drinking on these mason jars and we love it. And we also like to can different things to preserve them. Very good. Great. So let's see what else we have. I think we have two more.
More.
These
And there's two more classes, so it fits so perfectly. I
Great.
love it. All right, old laptop that no longer works, just taking up space. I have an old laptop in my other room. So let's see, Miss Brigitte's class, if you guys want to unmute your mic, do we rethink or do we recycle? You can unmute your mic. We can come on in. We can hear you when you do have the mic on. What do we think? Ooh, a good mix. Oh, that was challenging. I think more people said recycle, but I don't know if we've done a rethink yet. So we could click that and see what happens.
That's great. We haven't done a rethink. And then one of the important parts with electronics, I advise you to recycle it if you cannot use it. How can I rethink an old laptop that I don't use? Maybe you can turn it in a single-use device. What do you mean by that, Herman? Maybe we can have an art that we have or a slideshow and we can make it into a frame that can display some photos. Or maybe it's the way to track the weather. We make it into something simpler, but also recycling is very important because there are many metals and many things that can be used from all these devices. Bridget said, rebuild if you have the knowledge. That is a great point. If we know how to operate and change this, I agree with you 100%. And the last one, we already covered this somehow. So who want to help us with this?
Let's see, our final class that I haven't brought on in a while. Hello, Ms. Alicia, Ms. Swimmer. Welcome in, fourth graders. Unmute. What do we think? We're going to reuse those coffee grounds. Let's do it.
Yes, and the beautiful thing is that the way we reuse them is we let them rot and we let them create new ground and we let them make our plants better. This was really good. It was so much fun for me to go over this with you. I invite you to do this on your own and explore. But remember, a line, a circle, one letter, and a pledge. We have a pledge for you. When you go to the site, we have make your circular pledge. And I can click on ready to pledge. Then you can pledge things that you want to do for each one of the R's. That is great. We keep track of those. We take a look at what people are trying to pledge. But I want to invite you to do something really special. We have so many classrooms with amazing ideas, and you seem so engaged and so right in all your answers. I want you to create your own. Right here, what would you like to do? What do you think that you can do in your school, at home, or in your community? And that's the information we have for you today. Thank you so much. And I'm here if you want to ask any questions.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you so much, Armand. And again, teachers, classroom, students, we're going to be highlighting all of this, sending that whole pledge page, everything else with the circular economy, everything from Digital Moment today. I'll bring back in Riaz as well. Thank you so much for the two of you for this amazing talk. We're going to dive in with a little Q&A, but then honestly, we'll finish up. We'll get you that link. You guys can go do this at home today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. So teachers, please, if you do this as a class, if students do it individually, send us what they come up with. We'd love to hear from it here at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. I know the Digital Moment crew would love to hear it as well. And all these actions actions do such a positive difference. I'll say for me personally, one thing that I do to help a more sustainable future is I eat a lot more vegetables than I used to. Meat takes up a lot of water, takes up a lot of energy. It's a really challenging way of sort of stressing the Earth's environment. And so now, because my wife's a vegetarian, I eat a lot of vegetables. And it's so delicious and so much different than I ever was when I was your age. And it goes a long way to helping the environment. Also refuse those tote bags, recycle my old laptop. All these things help a lot. So we're going to bring in classes for some questions if we have any. Let's see. I know a few of our classes have had to go with lunch.
We have one from Ms. Brigitte.
I'll come to them live so that our other classes can hear it. So Ms. Brigitte, if you want to say that question out loud, we'll come to you. 2A04, you're next. Mr. Stillman and then Mrs. Lango will go in that order for our queries together. But Ms. Brigitte, what is that question? Did you say it for us on audio?
Sure. Ali wants to know what people do with e-waste. So when you send it for recycling, what happens to it?
Excellent.
That is such a good question. Riaz, please help me at any moment if you want, because you know this very well, but if not, I'm going to chime in. Do you want to take it or want to take it?
Well, there's lots of things you can do with e-waste. And when you take them to a recycling center, people break down old parts of a laptop or a cell phone or a computer or a TV. And then what they do is they either reuse or repurpose those materials to build other electronics, or you can use it even sometimes for art. You can even use it, in your garden, for example. There's lots of different ways that you can use e-waste that don't actually go towards the landfill. But the best thing to do is to find a recycling center that specializes in electronic waste, and then they know what to do with those items. You got to go online and research, ask your parents, ask your teachers. They'll be the ones who know.
I've got two quick follow-ups on this too. A lot of our classes will be near an IKEA. IKEA actually has really fantastic e-waste recycling things that are really easy to differentiate, so that's easy. And we do a lot of programs at the Toronto Zoo, and they highlight that when you recycle things like a laptop, you particularly save something called coltan, which is taken out of the rainforest that gorillas live in. So when you recycle your old laptop and phone, you are literally helping gorillas in the rainforest, which is a very, very cool little neat touch. So I'm so glad we led with that question. Ali, that was awesome and much appreciated. Mr. Blondo's class, 2A04, come on in Winnipeg, unmute your mic, and take us away if you have any questions. Hey.
What inspired you to become a recycle expert?
Ooh.
Riaz.
Well, so we are not recycling experts. We are experts in digital education and in the Sustainable Development Goals. So we are experts in creating educational materials for kids like you to learn about things like recycling and the 7 Rs. So we do lots and lots of research, just like in school. We spend hours reading things and finding out the best way to make it accessible and easy for people like you to understand.
I love that this is the answer, because I think a lot of kids, certainly when I was a kid, I assumed that anyone who was ever talking was like the world authority on something. And quite often, a lot of people, certainly like me, I'm not an expert in anything, but I pick up amazing things from people like Herman and Riaz, and I can share that in a way that people can understand and find accessible. So this is true for you too. As kids, you can learn these things. You can go to the Digital Moment site. You can follow other Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants broadcasts and take that knowledge and become the expert for your family and friends. And that's such an impactful and meaningful thing. So if you share what you learned today with your parents, your teachers, anyone else, you can make a positive difference that goes well beyond what you yourself can do. So I'm so glad we got that. And I also want to throw in a quick note to say, you as a particular student in 2A04, you asked the first question last time we did a broadcast with you. So way to go for being so curious and being willing to ask questions. That's amazing. So kudos to you. Mr. Steltman's class, time flies and you're having fun. We are nearing the end of the broadcast in my crazy day. Come on in and take us away. Hey, guys.
Like when you recycle a computer, if you ever take out the parts, like how do you reuse them if the Chromebook or computer is not working?
Yes. You want me to take that one? Yeah.
Herman.
That is a great question. And what happens there is that when your computer starts working, there are different options. One of them is that your computer can be fixed. Maybe, as you mentioned, is the hard drive, or maybe another piece of electronic can be fixed, can be changed. And that goes into the design, making the computers easy swappable, the parts to be interchanged. Now, you have your computer, it's not working, and you take it to a recycling center. What they do is that they check for the different parts. they can use some of those parts for a new computer, for a different computer, or to rebuild an older computer. And then the rest they use, as Riaz and Jesse said, they use the metals, the plastic in order to create new things. So the idea is always what we extract to keep using it, to keep consuming it, not only you, but the world itself, as long as possible. The last thing we want is for it to go to waste.
No better message than that. Before we wrap up, and again, I'll be sharing this with all your teachers in literally like 2 minutes. I know a few of you have had to go to lunch. Is there any last message that you two want to share with us before we bring in the kids to say a big thank you and farewell from all your amazing work at Digital Moment today?
I can start, and Ria always wraps up. So I just want to thank you for being here with us today. I want to thank you for being so enthusiastic. As you saw today, the world has problems, but the Millennium Development Goals and the SDG, they have proven that if we all work together, we can make a difference, and we can make a difference in the way that we live and the way that we share the world with others.
And that's a great thing to say, Herman. And as a follow up to that, every little action counts. So don't ever think that you refusing to purchase something or you reusing an article of clothing doesn't make a difference. One impact has ripple effects, just like we were talking about earlier. So just keep doing what you're doing and keep learning. That's the biggest thing. Just keep learning and educating yourself.
Thank you two so much. I've sent along the email to all your teachers, so tune in on that, digitalmoment.org for more and what we do to wrap up every broadcast. And if you two want to stick around for me at the end, that would be great. But we're going to bring in all our classes to say a big thank you and farewell. So Mr. Stelman's class, 2A04, Ms. Brigitte's class, thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. And